Good evening and welcome to another story from a corner of my living room on Thursday, I think it's May the 7th, I'm not entirely sure. Yes, it's May the 7th, it's a bank holiday in England tomorrow for May Day, May the 8th. Anyway, so another story for this evening. We have a story that originated in Nigeria tonight. So here we are. In the beginning, the sky was very, very, very close to the earth. And the sky provided food. This is a strange concept for us, I realise, but in those very, very early times, people could just reach up and break off a piece of sky and shape it into food or just eat it as it was. And imagine the possibilities it would taste of anything you wanted it to taste of. Imagine being able to pluck a piece from the sky and have salted caramel ice cream flavour, or roast beef and Yorkshire pudding, or crispy duck. Anything you fancied, any flavour you fancied, this is what the sky would do. How amazing could that be? But the sky actually was feeling a bit unhappy because he could see that people weren't treating him with respect. He noticed increasing amounts of himself being tossed into gutters and into rubbish dumps and wrapped up in sacks and just thrown onto the side of the roadway, the path. Everywhere across the land this was happening, and he knew he had to do something about it. So one day he called all the clouds and he gathered them over the palace of the king of the land, and he rumbled, and he had lightning flung down onto the palace. And the king came outside and looked up at the sky and said, "Sky, sky, what's happening? What's the problem?" And the sky said, "King, your people do not respect me. They are wasting my gifts. If you do not stop this, if you do not stop them from acting in such a wasteful manner, I will go away." Imagine the king's response to this. He had to do something, and he had to do it fast. So he sent out his messengers, and they galloped across the land to every corner, to every village, to every township, and they told the people, "You have to stop wasting the sky. Otherwise the sky will go, and then there will be no sky. What will we do for food if there is no sky?" And so people behaved. They learned, they changed, they adapted, they took less, they wasted less. And every year there was a great festival across the land to celebrate the power of the king that all the people worshipped. And this year was no exception. The party went on for a week. There were parties in every corner of the land. There was music, there was dancing, there was feasting. And on this particular year, people were very, very careful not to overeat, not to take too much sky. Well, in a house not far from the king's palace, there lived a woman of, shall we say, large appetites. She never seemed to be satisfied. She'd had more husbands than anybody else. She'd had more children than anybody else. She always seemed to be able to eat more than anybody else. And she was weighed down with coral necklaces and golden rings and earrings by the dozen. She had lots of flowing clothes and draping scarves. And on the last night of the king's festival, she and her husband were invited to the palace. And oh, what a time she had! She danced, she feasted, she talked, and it was very, very early hours of the morning by the time she and her husband got home to their little house. And he went into bed, and she stood in the garden, just remembering, reliving the wonderful evening that she'd had, and her gaze drifted up to the sky, and she thought of all the wonderful food that she'd been eating, and somehow she just couldn't help herself. She reached up and she brought down a great big wedge of sky. She started to eat, and she was eating and eating and eating, and suddenly the most unusual thing for her happened. She couldn't eat anymore. She'd eaten so much that night, she'd eaten so much that week, that actually she'd only managed to eat a fraction of this piece of sky that she took, and she suddenly realised what she'd done. Oh, what have I done? What have I done? How am I going to deal with this? What am I going to do? Husband, husband, come quick, help me eat this sky. But the husband couldn't. He had no appetite. A couple of mouthfuls and he was done. Children, children, come quick. She had 11 children. You'd think they could have made an inroad into this, no matter what flavour she made it taste of. They weren't having it. They were full up too. Neighbours, neighbours, come, you must help me, you must help me. There was still such a big piece of sky left. And she looked around. It's dark. The sky won't know. And she got some of the dustbin bags and she wrapped it up. And again, and triple wrapped it just for good measure. And she crept out to the back of the house and she lifted the lid of the garbage bin and she popped the sky in the bin, shut the lid, and there was such a crack and a boom and a rumble from the sky as it gathered its clouds over the king's palace. The king came out. Sky, what's happened? Your people have still not respected me. They are wasting me still. I will teach you all to be so wasteful. I'm going far away where you can't reach me. And in the morning, when all the people woke up and ventured out of their houses, and they looked up, the sky was no longer where it used to be. They couldn't touch it anymore. The sky had gone further away than they could even begin to conceive of. There's no way that that was going to be how they would eat. And so, that is why people had to learn to grow crops, to till the land, to grow livestock, and the sky still watches from far away to see just how wasteful it is that we are being. Thank you for listening, and that's it for this evening. We'll be back tomorrow with another story. Have a good weekend. Bye-bye.